Hello everyone, today I'd like to read a new book, Bitterthorn by Dunn, which I think is an amazing book, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's go. Love doesn't just sit there like a stone. It has to be made like bread, remade all the time, made new. Ursula K. Le Guin. Autumn. Chapter 1. I was born from my mother, swaddled in my unbroken amniotic sac like an insect, encased in amber, and entirely apart from the world. I have, in all meaningful ways, been alone ever since. The doctor grimaced and slid open my cocoon with a knife, spilling fluid and meconium, and like a selkie, I slipped off my first skin to reveal another human, one beneath. My mother was gone in an instant, fainting in shock at this living, squirming thing emerging from inside her. My father took longer to leave. I was presented to him, minutes old, in the antechamber to my mother's room, cleaned off and wrapped in lace. I am told he politely inquired after my birth, and had the good grace not to be visibly disappointed that he had no son. A daughter was perfectly adequate, and I had sensibly arrived healthy and whole. My only crime was arriving at all, into the lives of two people who weren't quite sure what to do with a child now it was here. I never doubted they loved me in their own way, but I understood clearly and quickly what I was to them. A problem to be solved. Who should look after me? Where should I be put? How could things be arranged so neither of them had to change their lives in any real way? I soon learned my job. A series of nannies and governesses shepherded me from nursery to schoolroom, and I saw my parents in slivers like the windows of a zoetrope. Mother dandling me on her knee before a dinner party, my father presenting me to guests as I recited Goethe. Every child is beholden to the gods of their parents, and I augured their meanings from careless words and gestures, made rituals to fit around their whims, and inscribed into my heart the rules they unwittingly handed down. I learned who I was through them. Mina's a good girl. Mina's a sensible girl. Mina is not demanding. I was well fed, clean, sheltered by all the protections money and status afforded. I lacked for nothing, except real love. My mother would visit me occasionally when her spirits were on the way up. This interest in me, riding together, a trip to Paris, a painting course, flared up rapidly like a match being struck, and then would be dropped as the flame reached her fingertips, the shriveled, blackened stick tossed aside before any of the heat could touch her. My mother was delicate, and the child was one burden too many for her to bear. Not that she was capable of bearing many burdens at all. She'd struggled with life as though it wasn't her natural home. The air too thick and syrupy for her to breathe, moving through it like a poor swimmer thrashing amongst the waves. My mother died the autumn I was 12. I didn't understand what it was to need someone until she was gone. My father, left with a daughter on the cusp of womanhood, panicked. He did what any prudent man would do, and promptly married a respectable widow, replete with daughters near enough my age so that someone else could handle female issues. As ruler of the small Duchy of Schwarzstein, his time was all accounted for, and raising children was not on the schedule. My mother was tidied away into her grave, and my stepmother unpacked her things into her place. I found myself far from home without having travelled to meet her. I was living on the outskirts of someone else's family, and no matter how many mollifying words my father offered, I knew I was not a necessary star in this new constellation. My stepmother was not a cruel woman, merely a disinterested one. She had 3 daughters of her own, and no desire to take on another. Joanna, the eldest, Else in the middle, and the youngest, Clara, needed education and good matches to be found, and that was a far greater draw on her attention than a grieving girl child confused by monthly curses and a shape-shifting body. Still, she didn't throw me into a cellar or make me their servant. No, she simply turned me into a ghost. When she and her daughters arrived into our house, in all meaningful ways, I ceased to exist. I slipped into my adult woman body in the same way I had been born into the world, cloistered apart from the rest of humanity, shuddering from one skin into a new one, my beating heart a problem to be dealt with. Already well versed in entertaining myself, in womanhood I never thought to do anything but continue along the same path. If the palace that had been my home was now the domain of my stepmother, I would look beyond for something of my own, and found it in the trees outside each window, the mountains that ringed our capital city of Blumwald, in the pebbly river that churned wild in spring with snow melt and froze solid enough to skate on in winter. I found home in the crags and branches, in birdsong and my own ragged breath as I walked and walked. I felt power in my independence, far, far safer to be alone than to want and be unwanted. So I walked and I walked and walked until my boots were bloody and my face was sunburned, until I became a creature like the foxes and egrets, until I was only motion and pumping heart and nothing human at all. Holding entropy at bay, I heard my father call it once the constant output of energy to remain in one place. Life was in movement, only dead things were still. I was a dead thing in my heart. I knew it like a poison I drank each night and purged each morning. I knew that I was isolated, but I didn't understand my loneliness until I knew what I would give to escape it, what I would be willing to do, until I knew what it was to love and be loved. It was the witch who taught me that.